There is a story running in the background of almost every financial decision you make. Not a plan, not a calculation, a story. And the uncomfortable part is not that the story might be wrong. It is that your brain is working very hard to make sure you never notice it is there. The popular version of this idea goes something like this. Your beliefs about money shape your behavior around money. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to come by, or that people like you don't really get wealthy, or that wanting more makes you greedy, those beliefs settle into the nervous system. They become defaults, and those defaults quietly govern what you ask for, what you accept, what you let yourself keep. This is not a fringe idea. There is real clinical observation behind it. Therapists working with financial anxiety describe patients who consistently undersell themselves in salary negotiations, who feel physical discomfort when their account balance rises past a certain threshold, who find subtle ways to spend down windfalls before they can settle. The self-help industry turned this into a clean prescription. Identify your limiting beliefs, replace them with empowering ones, and watch the financial behavior follow. The logic feels sound, the mechanism seems clear. Beliefs drive behavior. Change the belief, change the outcome. And there is something real in that. The observation is not wrong, but the prescription, the idea that belief change is both the lever and the solution, rests on assumptions about how the brain actually processes self-relevant information that turn out to be considerably more complicated than the wellness industry would like them to be. Here is where it gets interesting. The brain does not just hold beliefs, it actively maintains them. And it is surprisingly skilled at filtering information to protect the story it is already committed to. Recent computational research on self-deception found that the same neural architecture that produces overconfident beliefs also produces something that looks, from the outside, like motivated reasoning, selectively updating on evidence that supports what we already believe and quietly discounting evidence that doesn't. This is not a flaw. It appears to be a feature, a stabilizing mechanism. The brain prefers a coherent story about the self over an accurate one, and it will work to preserve that coherence under pressure. Now apply that to money. If your core story is, "I don't really deserve financial security," then evidence confirming that story gets weighted heavily. A rejection, a lost contract, a bad investment. These confirm the narrative. Evidence against it, a raise, a compliment on your work, an unexpected windfall, gets processed differently, minimized, attributed to luck, treated as an exception that doesn't really count. Off-tracked branching neural network with asymmetric pathways, cool blue tones. This is the measurement trap the wellness framing walks straight into. It treats deserving money as a belief that can simply be updated, the way you might update a fact. But the research suggests that self-referential beliefs, especially ones tied to identity and threat, do not update like facts. They update like defended territories. And here is the part that does not appear in the affirmation deck. The very act of trying to consciously override that story can trigger the brain's consistency protection mechanisms. You tell yourself you deserve wealth. The brain notices the dissonance, and it goes looking for evidence to resolve it, often in the direction of the original story. This is not pessimism. It is just a more honest description of the terrain. A 2021 study published in a computational biology journal modeled how beliefs about the self update under uncertainty. The researchers were specifically examining overconfidence and self-deception, and what they found was that the brain's belief updating system is not neutral, it is asymmetric. Good news about the self gets integrated more readily than bad news. But, and this is the part that matters, when a belief is deeply identity-linked, the system can invert. Threats to a stable self-concept, even positive ones, get treated as noise. The implication is that "I don't deserve this" is not simply a belief waiting to be replaced. It may be functioning as a load-bearing structure in a larger model of the self. Removing it does not leave a neutral space. It creates instability the system will immediately try to resolve. Separately, a 2021 study on moral reasoning found something adjacent and worth noting. People do not apply ethical principles consistently. They adjust the principles themselves to suit the outcome they are already motivated toward. The researchers called this making moral principles suit yourself. What this suggests, applied here, is that the story about deserving is not just descriptive, it is also prescriptive. It is doing normative work, It is telling you what you are allowed to want. A 2019 overview of confidence and psychiatric conditions found that abnormal confidence, both too high and too low, is associated with disrupted signaling in systems that govern reward, prediction, and self-assessment. This matters financially because financial decisions are, at their core, predictions about future value. If the underlying confidence architecture is miscalibrated, the predictions it generates will be systematically off. Not randomly off, systematically. And then there is the orbitofrontal cortex. A 2025 proof-of-concept study found that stimulating the left orbitofrontal cortex improved decision-making in patients with mood disorders, a region involved in integrating emotional valence with expected outcomes. The researchers were cautious, as they should be. This was a small sample. It was a proof of concept, not a definitive finding, but it points towards something structurally important. The capacity to make value-aligned financial decisions is not just a matter of what you believe, it is a matter of how well certain brain regions are communicating with each other. What none of this research proves is that financial outcomes are fixed by neurology. That would be its own kind of overreach. What it does suggest is that the pathway from belief to behavior is not a straight line. There are structures in between, and those structures have their own logic. There is also a trauma-informed dimension worth naming plainly. Financial self-sabotage is often described as a mindset problem. Laziness, irrationality, poor discipline. But the pattern of behavior that looks like believing you don't deserve money can also be a nervous system response to an old threat. The body learned something at some point, that having more made you visible or caused conflict or invited loss. And it is still running that protective protocol on an environment that no longer exists. So what does this actually mean for you? Sitting with a financial decision, or a salary you haven't asked to have reviewed, or a rate you keep quoting that you know is too low. It means the story you are running is probably not just a thought. It is more likely a model, a predictive structure the brain built from real experience and has been refining ever since. And models do not respond well to being simply told they are wrong. Consider the language you use. I can't afford it, and I'm choosing not to prioritize it, are not the same sentence. One positions you as a victim of circumstance. The other positions you as an agent making a trade-off. The words are not neutral. They are not just describing reality. They are partly constructing it by reinforcing the model of who you are in relation to money. This does not mean repeat better sentences to yourself until you believe them. The research suggests that approach can backfire. It means something slower and less comfortable. Noticing what the model actually is, not to replace it immediately, just to see it clearly enough to ask whether it is still serving the function it was originally built for. That is a different kind of work than changing your mindset. It is closer to archaeology than renovation. Here is the tension that does not resolve cleanly. The research on belief maintenance suggests that deeply held self-referential stories are hard to update through conscious effort alone. But the same research also makes clear that these systems are not static. They do update. Context changes them. Relationships change them. Sustained evidence over time can shift even defended models. The question is not whether change is possible. The question is whether the mechanism the wellness industry is selling, identify the belief, replace it with a better one, watch the finances follow, is actually the mechanism through which that change happens. The evidence, honestly read, suggests it probably isn't, or at least not primarily. What the actual mechanism is remains genuinely open, and that is worth sitting with rather than rushing past. The research behind this video draws from BMC Health Services research, PLOS Computational Biology, Journal of Affective Disorders, Psychonomic Bulletin and Review, Translational Psychiatry. Every claim traces to a published source. Full citations are in the description below. If the way this channel thinks about neuroscience resonates with you, subscribing helps this work reach people who'd appreciate it. New videos on the science of mind every week.